welcome to Coach's Corner Show. I am your host, Coach Paul Tripoli, along with my guest today on this Saturday, Freddie Robinson, former Alabama defensive back and Indianapolis Colt defensive back. Freddie, man, it's great to see you.
Coach Trip, Ed, how are you? Just good to be talking to guys that went through the things that I went through back in the 80s and see us still surviving and moving forward.
We survived Al Miller, that's for sure, didn't we?
Trust me, that was a lesson to be taught. After that, I think I could do anything. I could have been a Green Beret.
It's funny you mentioned that because our teammate, Mike White, right, in 84, our teammate, he went on to become a Navy SEAL. And he put up a picture of Al Miller in his Navy SEAL locker to keep him motivated because he didn't want to go back to Al and say he didn't make it.
Wow. Yeah.
Is that something? Is that a good story?
Oh, I wish I had known that. I was just with Mike at Lenny Patrick's funeral, and he spoke and we chatted. But yeah, great thing. Mike's doing well. So Al Miller definitely made. He put character in us, and
absolutely, man. We had a lot of great teammates. We're going to talk about them. Okay, here on Coach's Corner, we always try to inspire and educate the mind to think, the heart to feel, and the body to act. All right, let's start from the beginning. You grew up in Mobile. You went to Davidson High School. You had 3 sisters. And talk about your high school coach and teammates. Did you win any titles there at Davidson?
Well, let me correct you. I only had 2 sisters, two sisters and a brother. But we chased the title there. We were good. We actually, at one point, our defense only gave up 3 points a game. Wow. But we didn't make it. Our rival was Murphy High School, and which produced the Joey Jones and Joe Smith. Pat Washington went to Auburn. Those kind of guys. So they really had a lot of talent there. That was the thing I kind of hated about Mobile. There were so many schools with good teams. We beat up on each other. We couldn't get far. But some of the other schools like Enterprise and so forth, where you had one major school, they dominated. So.
Wow. All right. Talk about your mom and dad growing up, because your mom and dad still with us. Your dad played football.
Did. My father did. And, I had a great combination there. I had a dad who was a disciplinarian, provider, a leader, former athlete himself. He actually turned down a football scholarship because he was the oldest son. His mother was only 13 when she had him. So he came up and really was the house. He has 4 brothers and 5 sisters. So it was a lot of them. And he felt a lot of sense of responsibility. But, mom nurtured me and supported me, and they both did. My dad was, just heavy into sports. I told a story about him, once when Saturday morning when I was headed to a Little League game in the 6th grade, playing ball. And he was so into the game until I ran out the door, jumped in the car and left my mouthpiece, got out to run, grab it and come back. Took too long and he was gone. He left and went to the game, and I had to find a way with my mother to get there to play. So, he was all in. Yeah,
he was teaching you a little lesson, discipline and promptness. And, that's a lesson every father should teach and every coach should teach.
Yeah. It was great coming up in the area that I came up in. I followed the footsteps of the great Richard Todd, who was from a high school that went on to quarterback at Alabama, Scott Hunter. There were just so many Mobile athletes there, and both football and baseball. My dad actually played with one of the greats, Cleon Jones, who was a Hall of Famer, Major League Baseball for the Mets, New York Mets. Actually, I got a book that he recently wrote, and he's still alive and really leading that community. So it was, just inspired me to want to be great. Mobile hosts the Senior Bowl. So I got to see great guys coming. I met Ozzie Newsome and hung out with him and shook his hand, and Doug Williams and all those guys that came out, that 70s crew. So I was just hungry to try to be one of them and follow in those footsteps.
Gosh, and then you go to Alabama, and actually you end up starting in 1984, my senior year. You were a sophomore, and you started along. I think I had 3 sophomores with me. It was Vernon Wilkinson,
yeah,
Cooper, and
Vernon Bridden, Ricky Thomas.
I was the senior, We didn't have a great year that year, even though we were super talented. And I'm gonna start naming some names, and I want you to describe shortly each one of these guys in like a sentence. So we're gonna talk about these guys because we were lucky to play with some amazing athletes. I was able to learn from Tommy Wilcox and Jeremiah Castile how to play safety and corner. And you played both too. You played corner and safety.
I did.
So you started out at corner. Talk about your transition from corner to safety.
Well, it was a big transition for me to go because in high school I was a safety, and I only became I had played safety. I played little league. You play offense, defense all over, but only because the line for the free safeties was short. There were only two seniors, and I came up, young guy, and worked my way in, and then I started at Davidson for 3 years. But when I got to Alabama, I'd never really played corner, and Lewis Campbell taught me. He taught me everything. I knew how to backpedal. I laughed because he was just grinding me about backpedaling to the point he told me to backpedal to class. So I'd be backpedaling across, school. I mean, I did it, but it became natural to me. Yeah. And when I train guys now, I actually have them backpedal for a quarter mile around the track, just backpedaling, the muscles just, and it becomes easy. And to me, that's the foundation of being a corner, being able to backpedal smooth and swift, and then be able to change direction. So, that transition came because I have long legs. Me, I'm 6'2", so my center of gravity and that change direction. But I credit Al Miller to that. Off season, pipe drills, the box drills. We would do that. So those things really ignited those fast twitch muscles in me. Right. But it was good. But I think for me, it was kind of out of necessity. I was moved around in the secondary, as needed. So, against, in our era, it was about the run. It was that tall sweep. And of course, with Bo Jackson, Auburn, Tennessee, those guys, it was all about that, stopping that. So I did like to hit
tackling drills. Yeah. We did do a lot of tackling drills. And we're going to talk about the transition from college to pro. How we thought that college was tougher physically than the pros, and it was. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
The transition. Coach Campbell was such a great technical coach, and let's talk about that transition because when I got to the pros, my college coach at Bama, Lewis Campbell, was better than my pro coaches.
Oh yeah.
And they worked a lot, and we worked a lot harder in college. Talk about your experience in that realm.
Well, exactly. I think in college, the mindset of the player, we're a student, we're a kid, and we are sponges, and we do what you say. We don't question it. We don't balk against it. And we do it to the degree that you say it, and I'm sure you went through this. What we all Bama guys know is gut check. Making it through that window. I mean, Coach Campbell had me going to the point where I felt like I was going to collapse. And it was like right at the brink in which you just say, I can't go another step. Then, you got the whistle, you got the water, you got the chance to recover. But he taught us things like leverage, which I really didn't understand. Based on man coverage or zone coverage, having that leverage and keeping it. So when the receiver is running around and they're weaving in, staying on that inside shoulder, so you're there to make the play, to make the break. But
staying kind of crouched over. If you're standing straight up, the first thing you have to do is move down in order to move, because you never see anybody shifting gears standing straight up. So I always taught that as my DBs too, man. After that, because you're looking for. Right, you're looking for that level one, folks. There's only 3 level throws: short, medium, and long. So you're looking for that level 1 right away, and then you got to go to level 3, but you got to keep crouched over to react to level 2.
Yeah, it's those things that are only a tenth of a second that make the difference, and you don't know those things coming out into college. Most don't. So you have to be taught. Most guys, by the time you're a senior, you have. You've mastered them. The game slows down to me. I remember as a freshman against Vanderbilt, my first starts, man, I was like a jackrabbit. I moved at anything, it's like every time there was a pop or something, you're reacting. But then by the time you become a senior, you're kind of dictating the flow, and you're really trying to bait the offense into doing what they think, the defense that you're showing them. So, but when I went to the NFL, it was eye opening, and I had the fortune of going in with a former teammate, Chris Good. Chris and I both got drafted to the Colts, so we decided to get an apartment, share an apartment. It was kind of crazy because we both had the same car. We got these. He got a black one, I got a white one. We were just like that, but having to, doing it with him, going to practice and knowing each other. But he and I were like, we were like jackrabbits around, and we had the Alabama practice tradition. When you come out the tunnel at Bama, you hit it, you're jogging, you move from station to station. You knelt, you did not sit. And that's how we were programmed. But this was showing up the vets. Those guys were, used to the slow pace, and they corralled us one day, and, they slammed us about 10 guys. They circled us up and said, you guys got to slow down. We don't move like that here.
It just wasn't the veteran DBs. It was all the veterans getting on you guys, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was. We just, so, we were just built that way. And I think that really showed in the Alabama pride. Like me, the first time I saw the guys, fourth quarter, you throw up those four fingers, that meant, hey, we're ready. We have trained, we are ready to go. And what really stood out to me was against Florida Gators. We heard so much about the swamp and the heat and all that. We get down there, we're not tired. Those guys, they're getting cramps and they're dying, and we just, walk through the swamp. So, I really credit Alabama for everything that was, taught. And, I think Coach Bryant brought that work ethic.
And the high standard.
Standard. When you're tired, when you're down, are you still able to perform, be disciplined, not make mistakes?
Right.
As a lesson taught.
All right, so I got to bring this up because we talked about it earlier when we had a technical difficulty. But we played against Bo Jackson. We played against them a few times. 1984, we're beating them 17-15. They drive down and they line up for a 43-yard field goal. And you and I were back and forth on who should rush. And I was the captain my last game at Alabama, and I'm like, no, Freddie, I'm rushing. I almost got it, but he pulled it left, so I thought I might have had something to do with it. But if he'd have made it, I don't know if I could have looked you in the face, man. I don't know, brother. Remember that.
Oh yeah, I remember it well. That's the tradition. We all want to make the play,
right?
But I guess it goes back to our freshman year when we come in, and as freshmen, all of the seniors get us one night and they take us in and indoctrinate us, and we know our place. So the protocol, the upperclassmen and that. So I was like, hey, buddy, you're a captain, go get it. So just so glad that worked out for us. But
all right, let's jump ahead to 85 Iron Bowl. I was gone. But you were a junior, and Van Tiffen kicks the long field goal to win it. Talk a little bit about that game.
That game was so crazy. It was back and forth, and that's how all the Iron Bowls are. 1 minute, you're on top. It swings. It is such an intense game. Yeah. From the opening kickoff, every play. And one play I remember specifically was Bo Jackson involved him. And I hate to throw my guy under the bus. So Sammy Hood, I love Sammy, but I was moved to safety, and Sammy was a corner, and we were playing cover 2, and he was rolled up. He was up at the line, and all week we practiced. Sammy comes up, makes him come in the channel, and I meet him there in the hole. Well, Bo decided, the heck with that. He decided to go outside. He took his left forearm and he gave Sammy a shiver. And Sammy was over in the Gatorade, and now I'm turning and I'm chasing Bo. And I get there and I dive, and I think I got his thigh, and I grab it, and he, strong thighs of his just break loose. So I'm upside down looking over my head. I'm watching him going 75 yards up the sideline and just praying the backside can touch him, And then,
brutal, wasn't he?
Oh
my God. I remember tackle him one-on-one, and a friend of mine, my teammate, reminded me of that, and I was like, oh my gosh, he was a brute. We beat him twice, both that year. That was his junior year. All right, then your senior year. What was the highlight of your senior year in '86?
The highlight of my senior year was beating Tennessee. And
we lost all those years.
Yeah, we had so many rivalries. Every week was a big one, and I really liked the way the coaches prepared us. Coach Donahue was a big Tennessee guy. We had the Vols coming out of the hedges, and attacking us while practicing and all that. And then LSU, we'd have the Tiger roar and all that. But beating those guys, had a great quarterback in the name of Tony Robinson.
Yeah,
and. They kept those speedsters, for a DB, it was an extra challenge to play Tennessee because, Willie Galt and all those track guys, and you could be out there as a corner.
Willie Galt and all those guys,
you could be out there on an island, man, and those guys.
You better turn it 4 yards instead of 3 with those guys.
Yeah.
Beating those guys. All right, so you get drafted by the Colts. And Chris was also drafted in the same year by the Colts. Now, Freddie, I gotta say this, and it's not a knock on any coach at Alabama, but the competition, people don't realize when you get to that level, everybody is just very, very close. And I don't know how I got my chance to play, but Chris started one game at Alabama and then like 7 years for the Colts.
Yeah.
Think about the underestimating that he went through and the grind that how did they draft him after only one start? Where did you and him get drafted by the Colts?
Well, so I was drafted in the 6th round, and Chris, I think Chris was in the 8th round. They had 12 rounds back then. I wasn't surprised because Chris was a great athlete if you saw him, but Chris started out as a running back, and for some reason he didn't sign with Alabama as a freshman. He went to the University of North Alabama. He came the next year when his brother Kerry came, and Chris was there grinding on. We had an influx. We had great DBs who were walk-ons on the team who earned their weapon. Chris did that, but Chris is one heck of an athlete. I watched him during the pro combine workouts. His flexibility, his agility, and his speed.
We're real quick. We're really quick.
Trust me, everyone with the last name Good, those guys can run. They can run like deer.
You better not underestimate any Good, man. Let me tell you. Why isn't ESPN doing a 30 for 30 on that family? They 4 of them starred, and then their cousin who lived with them for a little while, Antonio Langham.
Came up to be best. Oh yeah, man! It's something in that Town Creek water, man. I need to go up there and get baptized.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. All right, so you played. Listen, I'm going to name some teammates, and you describe them real quick. Cornelius Bennett, Biscuit.
Oh man, Cornelius, just awesome. He was like the Bo Jackson of defense. Guy with the size and speed and athleticism.
Yeah,
man.
That's a good way to. All right, Mike Shula.
Shula was a leader. Calm, great guy. Would give you anything that you asked for. But I really like the calmness. That Georgia game was the epitome of him. Yeah.
Yeah, very poised. Smart, too. Todd Richardson, my homie from Liverpool, that took my number 23 when I left.
Yeah, love Todd. I'll call him the speedster. Todd was fast.
Yeah, he was.
Quick and a little tough guy. I love Todd. I just gave him congratulating him. Yeah.
All right, Ricky Thomas.
The general. I like Ricky. Ricky, he inspired and he was strong. He was a strong safety, the definition of strong safety.
Yeah, he was. All right. Did you play? You played with, because 87, I played against you guys in 87, the last game of the year, and I got Dickerson for a 3-yard loss on the first play of the game. And I got up and Freddie, I was doing this. I was hyperventilating after the first play, man, from
hey, man.
scrimmage.
Yeah.
But talk about Eric Dickerson.
Another one of the great backs. I got to be teammates. I was a teammate of Bo Jackson in the high school All-Star game, so I was glad of that. But, the Bo, Herschel, Eric was a great guy, smooth, but Eric was he was just smooth. He's like a Cadillac, Yeah. And he gets that stride. Yeah. I love that SMU Mustang logo on his helmet, because that's how he was. That's how he ran, man. And
he was a thoroughbred for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Let's say Derek Thomas.
DT was,
Is that picture behind you, DT?
An igniter? No, that's Wayne Davis.
Oh, that's Wayne Davis. That's right.
Yeah,
Davis.
You probably. Yeah. So I'm on the other side. That's against Georgia Tech. So he's making that tackle. Wayne D. He was a great backer too. But DT just, oh man, what he could do off of that edge rush, man, and so quick
in one game.
Yeah. Oh man. That guy was oh man.
All right, Big John Hand. You also played with Big John Hand in
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love Big Daddy. Up front, you could feel secure, that you was gonna get a good pass rush or he batted down, 6'7". Yeah, 6'7", that long wingspan. John's still up in Indianapolis. Great guy. Love him and his family. He married a girl named Tanya who was a Bama Belle. So love that family.
They're still up there, huh?
Yeah, doing well.
Love to see him. What line of work did you get in after football?
So after football, I decided to stay in Indianapolis. I had 4 knee surgeries, trying to get this thing repaired. So I figured, as far as rehab, I wanted to be near my surgeon and my rehab team. I used to have dreams that I would be able to play again, but the extent of my injury was just too risky. But I went into engineering, which was my degree from Alabama. I chose electrical, but I really work more in network communications, microwave systems and so forth. So I started working for AT&T, did 24 years with those guys.
Wow.
So I still dabble in that field for a state agency here in Georgia, but I consider myself kind of semi-retired. It does not require a lot. So putting in infrastructure and data, that was my thing.
What did you learn from your football years, college and pro, that helped you at AT&T become a success?
Really, leadership. Getting that from Coach Brian and the coaches about showing up early, setting a game plan. So I rose to a director, leading a team and really showing him it was about more than the technology, but it was about how to provide great service, customer service, pride in what you deliver, pride in whatever you were responsible for.
Absolutely, Freddie. It's even in business, it's not about the X's and O's, the wires and the hose. It's about the Johnnies and the Joes. So that served you well, my friend. That's awesome. Yeah, never retire, man. I'm never going to retire. I'm always going to do my show. I stopped grinding in sales for 35 years, but I'm never going to fully retire.
Let me give a lot of credit to one individual. I'm sure you know him well, Sylvester Croom.
Yes.
And really grew to love that guy. But, on Sundays after our game, I would go to church with and because of him. His father had been our chaplain for years, but having that balance, really learning about being a man outside of football, so that the whole character came there. So, we took pride in how we presented ourselves. I really enjoyed the time that we, under Coach Bryant, we went places with a coat and tie on, and we had, fresh, neat cuts. I mean, everyone knew us for that and for that discipline. So, I just appreciate everything that I gained from the University of Alabama, the coaching staff, and men that cared about us as young men. and not just, what we did on the football field.
Yeah, absolutely did. I'm glad you had a shout out to Coach Kroom. Love all those guys, man. Without those guys, we would have never made it without those guys. The standard that they set, and it's really, really a beautiful thing. Freddie, thanks so much for being on the show, man. So proud of you. You always had a great disposition when I played with you, man. Always that smile, and we got things done. I'll see you at the Coach Campbell reunion, hopefully.
Looking forward. End of May is what I'm hearing, so I plan to be there.
Yeah, me too, Freddie. All right, brother. Godspeed. Love you, man.
Thank you. Love you too. Take care, Trip.
See you, buddy. Bye. Wow, that was awesome. Freddie Robinson, my teammate, great person, great family man, and learned a lot and became a success. So proud of them. Thanks for watching the show. Hope you learn a little bit. Stay tuned for these important messages. Without our great sponsors, Coach's Corner just wouldn't be possible. Thank God for them. Have a great one, everyone. So long.
There's a reason why Hill Kelly in Pensacola is the #1 selling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealer between Jacksonville and New Orleans. While other dealers have taken advantage of a competitive market with higher prices, Hill Kelly has discounted prices to the lowest of the year. And Hill Kelly in Pensacola won't surprise you with excessive charges beyond the selling price. Come see why people from Milton, Pace, Foley, Bay Minette, Daphne, Gulf Shores, Mobile, and beyond are driving to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to buy their next new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram. At Hill Kelly, the bottom line price and your satisfaction are what really matter. So before you sign, check the bottom line and make the trip to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to see what true local ownership can do for you. At Hill Kelly Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Highway 29 in Car City, Pensacola. Or shop online 24/7 at HillKellyDodge.com. When it comes to bottom line pricing, nobody beats a Hill Kelly deal. Nobody.
That's you trying to fix the plumbing yourself to save a few bucks. Doing things yourself doesn't always end well. The same goes for insurance. That's why Auto Owners works with local independent agents who tailor coverage to meet your needs and offer discounts for life, home, car, and business insurance. Because sometimes you need a professional to get the job done right. That's simple human sense.
Are you riding around in a filthy vehicle? Dirty car no more. Visit Ronnie's Car Wash today to get it shining in no time. They have 3 convenient locations with another coming soon. The unlimited monthly wash packages start as low as $14.95 per month with free vacuums, multi-purpose spray, and towels. Visit them in Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, and soon Crestview. Don't wait. Wash today. Be sure to see Ronnie's Car Wash on Facebook to see the latest specials and discounts. You'll be riding and shining in no time.
75 years of service in high tech today. It's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348. High tech is a term often applied to advanced services and products in today's marketplace. And today, glass is much more than a simple painted brittle, see-through stuff we hit baseballs through when we were kids. Glass is now a product with unique flexibility in both performance and application. And Pensacola Glass Company is growing right along. That's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348.